Hi guys, today I would like to talk about fears. This is actually a pretty good topic for me because by doing this Periscope I am actually facing a fear. So what I would really like to talk about first is what you would consider a fear. And fear is not always a bad thing. For instance, fear helps us set boundaries. Like, say you are in a parking lot and there is a creepy guy. Hi! Well, your fear and your instinct kicks in. You are more hyper aware of what is going on around you, such as if you are in nature doing a nature walk and you're very close to the edge of a cliff, you may fall. This is another time fear is a good thing to have. Fear is not always bad. If your child is injured, your fear is going to help you push forward to make sure that they get medical care, that you know that they're okay. But the kind of fear. So, when does fear block you? For me, fear blocks me from success. I am afraid of failure. So that's going to block me from my success. And a lot of times I am afraid of being able to believe in myself. And I know that a lot of people can identify with this because sometimes it's really hard to just put yourself out there and just keep pushing forward. But ultimately, that's the way that you are going to be able to conquer your fears. Such as me, I am an introvert. I like to be hidden. So from introvert to periscope, that's a big thing for me. It's like saying, oh, hi, here I am. So it's difficult for me in that way. So something you can ask yourself, what is your number one fear, right? Mine is fear of failure. But I have also discovered that I cannot succeed if I don't try. So if you're afraid of something and you don't try it because you're afraid, well, then you failed before you gave yourself a chance. So my way of pushing past my fears are doing the things that challenge me, doing the things that are scary because I will get more comfortable with it. And I try to look at my fears and say, what can I do to push me forward? So I try something different. I try something a little more challenging. I take a class. I ask questions. I put myself out there. I try really hard to not let my fears just completely stop me. Because I know, and I'll admit this to you, I have a very bad habit of self-sabotage. And I learned this about myself this year. A lot of times I'll get really, really close to achieving a goal. Myself out of it. So my number one tip, if you have self-sabotage as something that you do, would be keep pushing forward. Keep showing up. Take it day by day. I'm 31 years old, and I just learned this year how many things that I have put myself out of the grasp of because I was afraid. But being afraid stops you. I mean, we discussed there are things and times when fear is a good thing, but personal development, fear is not a good thing. Fear and ego work hand in hand. And ego is not always a bad thing. You'll hear people telling you that you need to get rid of your ego, but ego is something that you need in your life. It helps you find a balance between the things that you are doing and also is with your spiritual self. You need your ego. You have to be balanced. That's like you may hear people always say, be positive, be 100% positive. No. You can have your shadowy sides. You can embrace that part of yourself. You can use that part to help you grow, just like your fear. The things that you are afraid of are usually the things that are going to help you really, really, really move forward. Because ego gets scared. Because when ego doesn't know what's going to be able to happen, contrast shows you. That's correct. That's correct. So you have to do the things that scare you to help you move forward. And a lot of times I've realized that when you do feel scared and you think something's going to go horribly wrong, or you you start with one point in your mind, you say, well, what if this happens? And then you lead yourself to, well, if this happens, that might happen. And you go from A to Z, until you freak yourself out and you don't even try anything. But if you go ahead and try something new, something different, then you realize afterwards, that was not as bad as I thought. With something new on your plate and another level of expertise or experience that you can now do. So this was actually a pretty short scope, but it's probably one of the ones that I've felt the most comfortable with because it's very real. And I can be vulnerable and I can tell you I am scared of failure, but I'm also scared of success. There's a lot of things that I'm scared of. But when I look at what I'm afraid of, I look at what I can do to push past those things. Because I have decided and made it an effort to not let my fear stop me. I'm now using my fear as fuel to push me forward. Because I want to succeed and I want to show others that they can succeed as well. So, does anybody have any questions or comments? And I am actually very excited today. I've got on here at my right time and was able to be here when I was supposed to. All right. Well, tomorrow when we do the Periscope, I'm going to pull out my cards and I will pull a general card for everyone and we'll discuss the meaning. I'm not sure what the topic's going to be on yet, but because I won't know that until tomorrow. But I know that at the end of it, I will do some card readings, depending on who's here, how many are here. I may do one for everyone, just depends on who logs in. But if it's less than like 5 or 10, then I think I can promise to pull one for everyone, and we'll see what happens. But thank you so much for joining me. And remember, you can conquer your fears as well. What kind of cards? I use Angel Tarot cards. I also have several decks of Angel Oracle cards. I also do questions from guides where I don't even have to use the cards. I have pendulums. I have several ways that I use to. Some people call it source, angels, spirit guides. To me, it's all a connection of just an extension of your higher self. So to me, all of those things are just the same. It all leads up to the same ending. All right, guys. Well, I have some errands to run and do, but again, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.